I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. My siblings are perfect and I wish I were the same. Making bad decisions, it should be my middle name. I love playing with fire, it's my favorite. Watch it burn my whole house down, not feel a thing. One look in the mirror, don't like what I find. I know that somewhere in there there's a good guy, but he runs away at midnight. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom.
Well, this is what happens when I'm out of my medicine.
There's collateral damage, I gotta go.
I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. 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 Sitting at the same old workplace. What's the point of this chase? To just bite our old tail. Wishing that something would change, that we could turn back the page and live like our favorite fairy tales. So a love so free in a world of our fantasy, flying on dragons through sky-high cities. These are childhood dreams, it's how we used to be, when we were kings and queens in our childhood dreams. Oh, 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 our childhood dreams. Our childhood dreams. Feeling. I feel so lightweight when I think back to those days, but then we went our own ways. I'm thinking about what needs to change.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to TTML Division 2. This is going to be the 7th round of the championship. Wow, we are getting deep into the season now. This one is going to be coming to you from the Italian Grand Prix, and as we get past the midway point in the season, this continues to all evolve. To take you through the action here tonight at Monza, it is going to be a usual commentary lineup. Myself, Daniel Hoggard, and alongside me in the commentary box yet again is going to be Michael Edwards as per. Mike, how are you doing, mate?
I am doing a great, one of the most iconic circuits on the F1 calendar, and there's going to be some great racing around here.
Yes, certainly it is an iconic circuit. You're going to see that racing all the way throughout tonight. Let's run you through what happened the last time out. Of course, last time out was the British Grand Prix. That was won by our still championship leader and extending championship leader, that Scuba. TDG Noisy got second, AC Alonso came through in P3, and with that, Scuba's championship lead continues to stretch, and his nearest rival is XL Gary, and the gap between them sits at a pretty handy 42 points. Now, what are your thoughts on Scuba? Because he's on a run at the moment of 4 straight podiums, has looked utterly dominant all the way through, and shows no signs of slowing down. Do you reckon that the Irishman is on his way to it? Do you think there's anyone in the field that can chase him down as we're getting deep into the season now?
Well, Scuba has done an absolutely fantastic job over the past couple of rounds, and that been very consistent at the top end. And we've seen in the races over the past couple of weeks, and that there have been guys to take the battle to him, but there's a lot of inconsistency going on.
Yeah, I think consistency is mainly the reason for Scuba's championship advantage rather than just raw pace. But the raw pace is still be good. He is currently on he won the last 2 races, of course, in Austria and then in Britain. But there's still a lot of close rivals then, because from 2nd to 4th in the standings, it's remarkably close. Gary, Matibos, and Calidra are separated by just 7 points, 101, 99, and 94. Respectively. Behind that's Jorg in P5, and then our 2 podium setters from last time out, Alonso and Noisy, they're on 79 and 74 respectively. So there's a lot of drivers that are still in somewhat contention, but Scuba, you sense now that these next few rounds are going to be decisive. After this, we're only going to have 4 rounds remaining, only about 120 points, just slightly more, still on the table. And so, really, it's going to come down to, because the likes of Gary, Matibos, and Calidra that still have a fighting chance, they need to have a strong round here, otherwise they're feeling that championship just start to slip away.
Yeah, if Scuba outperforms both of them here tonight and extends that gap even more, it's going to be very difficult for either one of them to really claw it back. So the pressure is indeed on Gary and Matt to close that gap here tonight.
I mean, we've seen both these guys winning races throughout the season. Gary, of course, won the first outing of the season in Australia, and Matt actually went on a 2-race winning streak of his own before Scuba took over. So he's also got a lot of potential, a lot of talent, but he needs to deliver that on a more consistent basis outside of those 2 wins. He's not been on the podium so far, and Scuba's been on the podium in near enough every single race. It's that level of consistency that is carrying the Red Bull man towards the title, but of course that title's still a long way away, and so we're going to have to look to see how that is going to unfold. We're now getting into it, just beginning to load up now. The drivers look like they're readying up, and so we're getting this underway very shortly. You guys know how it runs by now. 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 50%, in this case 27 lap Italian Grand Prix that we're getting into. We're going to have 17 drivers contesting the field, not quite a full grid, but hopefully it's going to put on a great show. Nevertheless, all our big championship headers are going to be here looking to contest this. So there is the seconds countdown, and we get raring to go for the action tonight then. First up is qualifying, so let's get into it. And so we are gathered here today for what is going to be the 7th round of the championship. This one is going to be the Italian Grand Prix. And so let's get things started and looking for the Temple of Speed, then the iconic track then. In terms of the tire compounds, we've got the C2, C3 and C4 compounds available for the drivers. That C4 tire is what you've got to be looking out for come the race. And so now we look towards the track then, a track that is famed by its beautiful scenery and its iconic tifosi that, of course, stand by supporting the track. A track that is 5.7 kilometers in length, boasting 11 turns then, 4 to the left and 7 to the right, and 2 DRS zones heading into turn 1 and turn 8 then at the famed Ascari complex. And so that is what we've got ahead of us for the drivers. The track is characterised for its long straights and very potent slipstreaming opportunities, which now we're going to be seeing in action here tonight. We now have our 17 drivers lined up to tackle the qualifying session first off here, so let's see how they get on then. So we're just going to have to wait and see the first drivers heading out on the track then. And Mike, well, this may not be the most technically challenging track on the calendar. It can be quite difficult to get around here, because not only can you invalidate easily, but even just some of the chicanes, like the second chicane at Della Roggia, can be very, very difficult, and if you're not careful, you can find yourself zipping off the track then. These guys are going to have to be on it if they want to keep it clean.
Yeah, for the Della Roggia chicane, it is so crucial to get a clean run through there to keep not only your lap time as low as possible, but also to keep it on the track and gain as much time as possible, because it is very easy to invalidate there. And the first car on track is Cam in the Haas, and he's just coming through the Lesmos now. So we'll see what the Haas can do. He's the only one out on track at the moment.
Yeah, he's just gearing up, and good of you to know, actually, we are seeing a lot of drivers being very tentative. OWR Isotopic has also opted to go out with the pit lane, but it is a bit of a slow and steady start for a lot of the drivers then, as they get gearing up for this qualifying session. This is one of the most famed circuits on the calendar, and we're about to see it in action for the first time tonight then. We're now going to watch NZL Cam, who is going to line up the start of the lap then. Let's see how he fares around this Monza International Circuit. So over the line to kick things off, moving up the DRS, and it in here for barely down one of the longest straights of the calendar. We get up to high speed over 340 kilometers an hour, and then huge stamping on the brakes and into the first chicane and to Rettifilio. Exit up here is critical as you're back on the throttle again, going through the flat out Carver Grande corner, and then the continues on wide and unwide through the remainder of the first sector. And then you're preparing yourself for that Della Roggia chicane that me and Mike mentioned earlier. Got to keep it clean through there when it moves here for county exit, but just about keeps it together. Then you're setting yourself up for the Lesmo corners that keep it in fifth gear. High speed right-handers now into the second medium speed corner. Lesmo 2, you're back onto the throttle, opening up that DRS for the second time on the lap, then heading towards the famed Ascari chicane. Then it turns 8, 9 and 10 to come out your second bus then, so attacking that entry then, back onto the curves then, don't lose the car on the exit then, can it be easy to do so? You can see Cam stabbing, going across the track, but just about is able to keep it in check, and now heading towards Carver Parabolic on the final corner on the lap. Again, there's some blades, easy to get on the throttle too early and spin it, but he is able to get a decent enough exit. Cam now hurrying to the line, and he's going to kick off this session. Lap time comes through, so 1:18.6 to kick things off. So Cam opening up lap times. We'll see how it stands. We've got some lap times to come in there. Here comes the second bus, first runs. Let's see how everyone compares and if they can top that first mark set by NZL Cam.
Yep, and on board with Isotopic, so far the slap it looks pretty clean as he comes to the second sector. Split and doesn't go purple in there, but he does go purple in sector 1. So this could be there or thereabouts with Cam's time as we run down towards Parabolica. Very crucial to get your braking right for this corner, because you can easily drift wide on the exit and spin up the rears, as you alluded to earlier. As we come to the line, it is a 19.1, so lost a lot of time in that middle sector.
Yeah, that seemed to be a pretty critical time loss there for Ice Topic. Tiones goes and splits the two drivers we've seen so far. That he is just topped by Calidro. Goes into P2, a couple of tenths shy. Noisy though, going to the top. We've seen Noisy be ever impressive in the last few rounds, and currently he just peps, and now it's Gary that's actually going up into that P2. So we're seeing these lap times coming flying in, but Noisy from Gary, just a few thousands in it. Gary up there as well though, and so they're looking impressive from the front. And we've still got a lot to see though from some of the drivers then. Checking guys coming through then. York was on the lap, but he's about it, and he put in a flying first sector that was actually purple by a few hundredths, but that wasn't to be. And so we're looking, I'm going to track actually Scuba, who's just on the lap. Also, a lot of drivers, they're just kicking off lap times. Alonso crosses the line, goes 7th on an 18.9. We saw probably his best showing of the season last time out in Britain. And so still a lot to go. A lot more drivers on laps. And Matt T-Boss on a lap. Then take us through the ending there, Mike.
Yeah, Matt T-Boss, purple in Sector 1 and purple in Sector 2. We could be looking at a new man on provisional pause. We come through. Parabolica runs the car to maximise the track limits and to the line, keeping it tight to the inside to minimise the distance. And just in behind Noisy there,
wow.
2 thousandths of a second.
And another 4 thousandths of a second back to Gary. That's remarkably tight in that upper region of the field. We'll see if anyone else is able to try and top those times out there. Also on laps, Sansu goes fastest, and again in that mix, there is actually, no, it's my apologies, he's got a full 3 tenths quicker. We saw his remarkable speed last time out in Silverstone in qualifying. We're seeing that again now. This scoring from Sansu, well clear of everyone else. 3 tenths the margin. Noisy, Matt T-Boss, Gary, they all threw everything at it then. Cam as well, right in the mix, but ultimately all of them faltered, and Sansu, that is a storming run into provisional pole.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic lap from Sansu. Scuba, unfortunately, invalidating on his flying lap. He did cross the line with an 18.7, which would have put him into P6, but didn't keep it valid, so it doesn't come up.
Yeah, ultimately, of course, keeping it on the track between those 2 white lines makes all the difference here at Monza. A bit of a quiet stage of the session. First runs have now been completed, and so we look to prepare ourselves for the later stages of the session. And so I think Cam again is going to be first up on the track, but we have actually already seen him on a flying lap, so I think we're going to watch, let's watch LMN going around there. We'll keep an eye on Cam as well further down the line. But Sansu on that pole position, can anyone stop it? I think there's still a lot of time for some of the guys to find out there. There's certainly more potential in the track, but Sansu making that statement in the racing point, going to the top. We saw him in that fight for victory all the way throughout the British Grand Prix, but ultimately the strategy that he opted for on the safety car is what cost him in the end and set it back in the race. And so we'll see if he can make amends this time around, and he's got off to the best possible start then. As for some of the championship competitors, we didn't see Scuba going a good lap ahead, but we saw Matt T-Boss and Gary both going pretty well up onto the second row of the grid. LMN now is going to be lining up then, and now AlphaTauri to Barabolica. Take us to the whole lap, Mike. Let's see what the AlphaTauri driver is able to muster up then as we get into the mid-phase of the session here at Monza qualifying.
Okay, so crossing the start-finish line, DRS wide open now on the run down to the first chicane, breaking just before the 100-meter board, taking a bit of the inside curb to really open up the second part of the chicane to get the traction down, and now the run through Curva Grande, keeping it tight to the inside to minimise the distance towards the following corner, which is the Della Roge chicane, and see how much of the curbs he's willing to take. He takes a lot of the inside curb, and that unsettles him on the exit as we head now into the Lesmo. So there's definitely a bit of time there, and I think he's backed off. Yes, he has.
Yeah, so LMN having enough then of that flying lap. We'll look for see how the drivers think. Isotopic is a little bit further down the road then. He is heading through Lesmo 2 at the moment then for Ferrari. Currently last of the drivers that have set flying lap times. Worth knowing as well that Cam, he put in a blistering final sector, and he's got P2 on the road then, splitting Sansu and Noisy right in the mix then. So let's keep an eye out though on Isotopic. Is he improving? Yes he is, and significantly well up in the first two sectors of the lap. That first sector 25.8, second sector 26.3. He's currently up by about half a second on his lap. We'll see if he can find more time. Could even put himself up near that second row. So now to the line then. OWR Isotopic caps off the lap, and it is P6 at the end. And again, it's just over 100th of a second off a P3. And it's an incredibly tight group of drivers. Isotopic putting himself right into the mix then. P6 out to Silver, Collider to the line, goes P3 and only half a hundredth off as Falk goes fastest then, and just about Pep Sansu. Falk's announced himself then to the front of the field, another storming lap, a lot more to come in, but Falk making a statement out then. The lap times come in thick and fast, and Falk didn't set any purple sectors, but consistency over the lap was an 18.3 he was rewarded with, but Gary goes even quicker on 18.2, the times keep coming down at this midpoint in the session, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're seeing times coming in quick and fast now as B. Morgan up in the fourth with an 18.4 there. The times are starting to fall, and will we see anyone get into the 17s? It's looking like it could be a possibility now, as we are just over 7.5 minutes remaining in qualifying.
Yeah, we got so much ahead of us then. To the line actually is TTG York, crosses scopes, P5 on a 1, 18.3 then, as Alonso actually moved up as well. He's P3 at the moment, tied on times with Sansu. We haven't seen Sansu improving just yet then. On that initial run is still sitting in that pit lane. And so still we've got a lot more to see from our drivers then. As Scuba is out then and looking to improve then, pushing through this middle section of the track then. How's his first two sections? It's good but not spectacular, so let's see what he can do. Press on, going through the remainder of the flying lap. That was Matt Timosis improving. He went in at P6. It's incredibly close now as the field absolutely spirals in competitiveness. The line is Scuba, the championship leader, crosses is only 12th. He's not bad, he's within the mix, but ultimately hasn't been able to move himself up too far. Settling for P12 for the moment. Further down the road, Tionis is going round, not in a flying lap. Looks like it's waiting to settle down then, heading into that transition towards the late point in the session. Guy wins out, his de facto teammate for the night, Falk, going right up behind him, just a few hundredths down. It's incredibly close, just 400ths of a second covering the top four. Monza, we predicted this, the field is so competitive, and as for pole position, who knows who's coming out on top. There's still so many drivers that can come through. Between first to seventh is 0.2 of a second. There's almost nothing between this field, and anyone can snatch that front place on the grid.
And there's absolutely nothing between the two guys on the second row at the moment, both with identical lap times.
So let's have a look and see, is there anyone that's on a flying lap at the moment? I'd say it's pretty quiet. A lot of drivers are on in laps right now. Just looking later on down the line, actually I think Santa has just kicked off a lap. So let's track the racing point then. Heading towards direct field loop for the first time then. It's going to look to try and improve that. He's going to be eagerly pressing for that provisional pole. Don't go much to the fine. The track has evolved to no end since he set that lap time last. So the flying Finn is going to continue to press on, try and get a better lap time in. Let's see what the first sector is looking like then. For the man that had provisional pole before, crosses over the line then, and heading into the Del Roger chicane, hops over the curbs to the inside. It's just about able to keep the car alive and continue that press towards the middle section of the lap then. The first sector was good, it was very good. He was over a 10th up, going through and maximum commitment to the exit of Lisbon. One's going to continue to press on then. Can he top Gary's time? But there's a lot of drivers as well out there on out laps then, looking to improve. Into the third sector of the lap then. Middle sector was good, it wasn't quite as good as before. He gets a really nice run though, heading through a scar and continuing to press on now towards the end of the lap then. I think Element Cross, he goes P6 at the moment, getting himself on to that third row of the grid. Now it's Sansu coming around the final corner of the lap then, punching onto the throttle, and a Parabolica now running up to the line, taking the short spot to run. Is it pole? Yes it is, and it's a flying pole, a 1:17.9. Wow, that is brilliant from Sansu 37, again demonstrating such sensational pace. 0.3 of a second at a track like Monza, where the gaps are so often so small. That is brilliant. Can anyone top that flying lap time? That was incredible from Sansu.
That was an incredible lap time there from the racing point, and I was just asking, is anyone going to get into the 17s? And The question was answered within a minute.
That is sheer brilliance. Let's see if anyone can top that time. We've got 4 minutes in the session before that clock is going to expire, so there's still an awful lot more to look out for. We're watching Cam yet again. I think Ice Topping is also just in front of us. Those two have been roughly synced up on strategies throughout qualifying so far. And so let's see some of the final lap times and the session come flying in. I can tell you that Isotopic's first sector was flying. Now he crosses the line, goes up in a P8 there. Cam dives to the pit lane. And so he has decided to bow out then, looking maybe to try and press on later on. And so everyone's really in that transitional phase. A lot of drivers currently sitting in that pit lane. I think no one's actually on a flying lap right now. Everyone looking to go on later on and then try and get the lap times in to cut close off. Actually, Cam's out the session, so he has decided to opt that he's going to get no higher than P10. He's happy with that lap satisfied, so he's going to back out of it then. I think AGU is the only driver that's on and out lap. Falcon's just come out the pits as well, further back. But AGU furthest along, and Sway just ahead actually. Just starting a flying lap then. Let's see what the Mercedes can do. They're heading through the first gate. Sansa out. He's satisfied. Sway winning very wide though, coming out of the first chicane. He looks to still be pressing out there on that lap, but how much is he going to be willing to extend it then? Coming through that first sector as Sway opening up the second chicane at De La Roche. The big oversteer again on the exit. He does instead of representing the first sector, but it's a few tenths of a second off we want to be looking for then. Now through Lesmo 1, keeps it clean then. Now we're seeing a lot of drivers there gearing up for their outlaps to get into the last runs of the session, and this is going to be decisive for who's going to grab that pole position. Pole position not too strong around here because of the strength of some fresher tires out there. Well, not necessarily fresh tires, but just the slipstream. Sway though hasn't validated going through a Scary, so he's going to back out, look to go again later on. And so a lot of drivers now just on the outlaps are going to go a little bit further along then. AGU is further behind on the track as well. Sway going up to the line will put press on further, but let's watch AGU now. Heading through Cover Grande. Let's track the McLaren and where can he go? Can he push himself up from 16? The field's so close. A minute improvement is pushing him up. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do and what could potentially be his last lap in this session. Now he heads into the Lesmo corners and in the mid stage of the lap then. They're opening up Lesmo 2, trying to carry the entry speed all the way through then and open up that exit then and keeping that momentum through then. 16th at the moment is AGU 1417. Let's see what the section times are looking like. He was slightly up in the first sector, now crosses into a Scary. He's found a little bit more time in the middle sector, but he's invalidated again through a Scary, and that set it back. Now he might be able to get enough battery to go again on a final run, but that is going to cost him ever so dearly. I'm not sure actually if anyone else is on a flying lap. I think both the Williams drivers are still out there, and he mentioned it was that Falcon was furthest along then. Let's see that coming out of a Scary, pressing through the exit, flirting with the track limits. But he is still pushing on and looking to try and push together a faster flying lap then, and he is up at the moment. He is roughly 2 tenths up on his lap now, heading in to the final curve. Parabolica running right up to the white line, holds it together. He'll surely get in front of his teammate. Is he going to be pole position? Val crosses. It is to be denied. He is a 2.5 tenths down. Still a little room for movement to get up to Sansu. Up at the front of the grid, but his teammate Gary further down the road then, coming out of a Scary, is continuing to press on. His first sector was sensational. His middle sector good as well. Let's see if he can find main time and eke out that last sector now. Out of Parabolica, running it up to the outside then, skimming back into the inside. XL Gary going for the line. Can he beat Sands in the pole? No, he can't, but he is ever so close. Just hundredths down. Can't represent that gap if you blink an eye, but he settles for P2 then. Matt Devos was P7 in the end, and he crosses behind then. Jorg is still out then. He's heading through Parabolica. His teammate Noisy behind him on the road then, but I think he's backed off the lap then. I think he's had enough, though. He's still going for the line actually. He was just tight on the exit, but he doesn't improve then. P5 then. Behind him, his teammate Noisy crosses. He remains at 12th place for this remarkably tight grid. Behind it, it's going to be the two Redos. Coming up next, the B Morgan crosses, doesn't improve, remains in P9 for the time being. It's Steven Tionis is behind. He hasn't improved on an 18-9 from early in the session. What can he find in? Coming up to the line, Tionis from 15 goes up to 4th. Great final run there, gets himself onto that second row provisionally. There's still more lap times to be had. LMN is next up the cross. P7 in the moment goes 5th on a 1:18.234. That is going to be the lap time. It's Stephen Colidra slows him ahead, goes P7 at the moment. That occupies that 4th row of the grid then, and Falcon's still out there. I think he's backed out. I think that's going to be it for qualifying. Sansu for position. Stunning lap at the midpoint of the session, but Gary ran him so close and just denied. But critically, championship contender Scuba way down the field, and that championship lead could be threatened. Only P14, he's got an awful lot of work to do now come the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Gary as well, having Matt Tibos all the way down there in 9th place as well. And that's going to be crucial for Gary to extend the man in 3rd right now in the championship.
Yes, certainly. Gary putting himself in a great position for the race. Then we're just waiting on Falk to retire. We can then put qualifying behind us. Sansu, though, again demonstrating that qualifying pace, but he was challenged strongly by Scuba early on and ultimately faltered near the end. So Gary's going to give him a real run for his money. Those two were well clear of the field, over 2 tenths clear. Behind that, though, it was incredibly close. Falk and Tionis round out that second row. Element and Alonso, 3rd row. Caledra and Jorg on row 4. Then row 5 is occupied by championship contender Matt Tubos. Isotopic joins him rounding out the top 10. Those two again, exactly the same time. That demonstrates the proximity of the field in qualifying. Outside the top 10, free choice of tyres for these guys. B Morgan, Cam, Noisy, Scuba critically, Corboy, AGU. Sway didn't get a lap time in, then he bailed out on that final run, invalidating rounding off the lap then. And so that's it for qualifying. Now we prepare for the race. West Sanso in that pole position again. But I think the thing is with pole position around here is that you will be at threat. It's a long run into turn 1 and that slipstream heading down into the longest braking zone in the entire calendar. That's going to be a real challenge. Sanso's going to have to really fight to retain that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to be under pressure not only from Gary. Oh, okay. As I've just seen the conditions. Yeah.
I actually can't see them right now, but if that's the case, well, I'm going to take your word for it. Can you describe what you're seeing on your screen, Mike?
It looks like a casual afternoon in Wales. That's how much it's raining right now.
Oh dear. Well, that really throws a spanner in the works then. Maybe that's why we saw a few drivers not performing as much in qualifying as what we're used to seeing from them. Maybe they were going for more of a wet setup. Yep, I'm just seeing it visually now. It is pouring it down. Oh my word. That is quite remarkable. And we saw a wet race in Division 1 actually back on Tuesday. And so we could be seeing more from that again. We're counting down the seconds before we get underway then for what is going to be the Italian Grand Prix then. Conditions are throwing a spanner in the works then. Rain pouring it down, and that's going to really hurt these guys. Like, it's getting off the line even is going to be so difficult. The visibility is so poor. A wet race, this changes anything. Who knows what possibilities we have? We have such an unpredictable race ahead of us, Mike.
Yeah, and as we were saying, being on the front row is not really the best place to be, but I would rather be on the front row in the wet any day of the week because you can actually see what's going on ahead of you.
Yeah, certainly. That visibility advantage is going to really, that's going to assist Sansu and Gary. Everyone else behind is going to be eating a wall of spray from our leading two drivers. Falk is going to be the nearest to it, but he will still get that slipstream. And so we'll see what happens if he can maybe get a good run off the line. Tionis alongside him on that second row, having one of his best qualifying sessions of the entire season so far. But Sansu, a second pole position in a row. Let's see if he can convert it. You can see these guys struggling just to keep the car. I know they're trying to get temperature into the tires. Weaving around, but you can see them sliding the rear tires, breaking traction and sending them speeding across the track from one side of the circuit to the other. And so Sansu's going to lead this out. Gary alongside him. The wet tires. Fairly low wear, I suspect, around this track. It's not a high tire deck circuit anyway. But I think the real question is this rain going to be sustained? There's a lot of standing water out there, but the rain doesn't look too heavy. It's just a lot of standing water out on track. And so we'll see how it goes. huge amount of spray being kicked up from the front runners. So Santa's going to be leading out, but will these wet weather tires hold, will these conditions hold, or we could be seeing the race drying out as it evolves, as Gary's firing off. There's almost no grip in these conditions, mate.
I was just on board with Gary there. That's going to be one of the crucial things to keep an eye on in this race. Ascari, he's gone again.
Oh my! Well, Gary recovers. That's going to certainly knock his confidence ahead of the big race, and he's going to be looking for more further down the line. Satsu there is going to lead them around, then Gary will get up towards him and join him alongside in the front row. And a grid of 17 drivers looks to settle on the grid then for wet conditions, unlike anything we've seen before this season. Santa's going to lead it out to the grid, but before we get underway, I'm going to come to you quickly, Michael Edwards. So the question that you love and hate: what is your top 3 prediction for this race? How do you reckon this one's going to unfold?
I'm going to go with Satsu for the win, T. Jonas a second, and I'm actually going to say Alonso for third.
Okay, let's see if that's how things are going to unfold, as now the rear of the grid gets lined up on the grid, and now we prepare ourselves for 27 laps of Monza. The Temple of Speed being tackled in dangerous conditions then. Everyone is going to be challenged to their fullest, and we're going to see it in action now as we build up to 5 red lights. And the Italian Grand Prix is on the way. Round 7, the car struggle, fight for traction, coming off the line, but Santa's going away well, and he maintains the lead from Gary. Looks like you can see the spray obscuring the vision of the drivers behind, but Santa leads it. Gary tracking him down to P2, and the old battle rider gets Falk running off the track, then a slow end plate flying, and an all bunch stopping its chaos. Predictably, down there to Red, the Filio, Jonas gets over alongside Fountain, running side by side for Carver Ground, and it's going to be difficult to keep it flat out. Bravery required in these conditions, and they all duel away for the down the order as well. But to the outside, Tionis, to the inside, Falcons. Tionis is the brave rebel sweeper on the outside, getting himself up into that podium. The top 2 looking to break away then. You can see everyone struggling away. Alonso's under pressure. Matti Moss has made a good start to the inside line. Alessio one is able to claim that 6th position on the inside, as my connection is unfortunately dropped, so I can't really cover what is going on at the moment. Mike, take us through the action out there on track. I can't see a thing.
Oh, right now we're struggling for the drivers to even see a thing, but Cam getting a good run out of the Lesmos under pressure into Ascari, but unable to get the move done, and already Satsu having a 1.2 second lead up ahead as Tionis is trying to put Gary under pressure. Falk is a little bit off Tionis here for third. Element has a pretty decent gap, 1.2 ahead of Matibos. In fact, it's down to 1 second now. Matibos having a good run through Parabolica, so the gap is beginning to close. And now we'll see if Falk can put any pressure on Jonas into turn 1. No, sticks behind for the time being as we get the standard Killmasters timing glitch. So we'll wait to see once it all sort itself out. I believe we just had a move being made between Jorg and Moisey for 11th. 2 Alfa Romeos swapping around there. I believe Matt Tibos now all over the back of LMN into the Della Rocha chicane. Keeps it behind. Oh, a big snap of oversteer there for the Red Bull.
I am back, by the way, mate, so we can run along as per usual now. Hopefully this holds up to the end. And I saw Alonso going way in the background, heading through Lesmo 1. Looks like he's going to be able to maintain that 7th position, but looking rather uncomfortable in the wet conditions. Further down the order, we're seeing battling as well then. B. Morgan and Scuba going side by side. The Red Bull driver has the momentum, the Red Bull driver has the place. Heading out of the Lesmos, now heading towards the sky. We'll get into B12, but it's got a gap to make up on the drivers in front. You can see a few gaps appearing early, of course. No DRS to assess the drivers are running in a train, and it's going to be more difficult to follow in the wake of the cars in front. And these absolutely torrential conditions, you can see them all struggling to apply that throttle pedal at the moment in the way. Then Tionis, you see further blown to make a mistake, and Falk going through in a P3. Then Tionis manages to wrestle the car back on the line, but not before he comes under pressure. Element going through, Matt Tibos then going down the outside, heading towards the Red. Helio's going to try and get in front as well in the Red Bull. He moves across the inside line and is going to challenge Element Element as well, trying to break late on the brakes, but Element will hold on to it, just about holding on to 4th place in. But Tiona's making a mistake and dropping down from the podium. It's so easy to do so in these conditions. These drivers are sliding around. It's like an ice rink out there. Can they hold on to the grip? Cam's already gone in with damage. It is chaos out there. It looks like almost no one can hold on to control of the car, mate.
It's looking pretty reminiscent of the real life Turkish Grand Prix, to be fair, with the way these guys are slipping and sliding all over the place.
I'm actually just watching Scuba. This is the championship leader drifting, going through the second chicane then at De La Rocha. There is such a low amount of grip that these drivers, I think, will be praying that the rain eases off. There's no way telling so far, but it still looks like to be coming down at the moment. The standing water still out there on the track. They're looking to try and form a drive line, maybe make some slicks, trenches to the intermediate tires further down the line, but for the moment that seems to be far away. And so they all look content to set in formation. Overtaking going to be so difficult around here with these incredibly difficult conditions. And you can see if they get on the line, get on the white lines at the edge of the track, it could be over. Sway's gone off then. First driver out, and that's coming out of Ascari. He must have stacked it into the wall then, slipped and slid and went straight off the track. Heading off, Matteo Selman's going to dive into the pit lane actually. For Avatar diving in, the track has cleared itself. No safety car VSC, just the yellow down there at Ascari. I think Cam's gone off as well. So my apologies, looks like he's recovered, he's carrying on there, but Element going in, gaining a wing change, he also went off then and got involved in maybe some incidents then, wet tyres going on. These drivers not thinking about enters at all. Sansa though leading the way, and you have to say, for someone that maybe didn't look as good in race trim last time out, and Brendan is there, it's caught chaos in the back, there's ATU's going off to Cowboy. He must come together with B Morgan because both them drop back. Corbin moves up to 12th then. Chaos is suing out there. There's a big train building up behind Alonso out there. I saw someone holding over the curbs as well at De La Rocha, but back towards the front. Santu leads, and at the moment Garrett is struggling to go with them. Santa, with a clear track in front of him, looks at home in these conditions. Is already 2 seconds clear after just 3.5 laps.
Sansu doing an absolutely fantastic job out in front. Gary doing his best. So we're on board with I'm on board with Scuba right now, who's looking to make the move down the inside towards Ascari on York, and is done before the break-in of Ascari, and Scuba up into 9th place. A little bit of a rear end snap there, mid-corner for Ascari. They're going to have to watch out for that, because it is very difficult to reclaim the car if your back end steps out in the wrong place at Ascari.
Can be difficult to avoid their aquaplaning, always present for the drivers. Sansu at the front, fast lap of the race, continuing to move clear of XL Gary, his pursuer. And P2 then, his teammate Falcon sitting behind in P3 for the moment. Then you can see they're still pretty close in this midfield at the moment, and everyone's still jockeying for position, but overtaking. The difficulty is amplified in these conditions. Looks like they're all sitting back waiting. Again, AGU now is out to the pit lane. He picked up damage on that last lap then, 57% damage, so he's also going to get wing changes. I don't suspect that's going to be the last either going throughout the race. That we've already seen so many people going off at so many different points throughout the Italian Grand Prix so far. 4.5 laps into it at the moment, and we are all just holding up for the moment. Looks like the race still coming down in. Conditions still holding, and certainly too early for the intermediate tyres. It's anyone going to ever look to try and take that gamble. It's all sitting pretty static at the moment. Sansu still leads nicely, but they're all bunching up now behind Calidra. Got Ice Topic, Scooter, York and Noisy sitting right up behind them with the wig in front of them, with the spray in their faces. Scuba P9 though, sitting way up to Ice Topic. You have to say the Red Bull driver, after a Blue Court Park qualifying, he must have compromised his setup for the race, because he's flying so far in these wet conditions.
Yep, Scuba seems to be on fine form in these conditions, and he's closing up to the back of Isotopic, and we could be seeing a move into turn 1 if he gets a good enough run out of Parabolica. So let's see how he navigates Parabolica. It looks pretty planted, pretty smooth. He's got the overtake on, and we'll see if he can get enough slipstream to make this move. He is closing in. Oh, he's going to have to outbrake him into the first corner if he wants to get this move done. He moves to the inside, but doesn't go for it.
Yeah, Isotope being able to cover that one off, gets a bit of oversteer, but so does Scuba. And behind it, and so I don't think the Red Bull is going to get through just yet. The gaps are beginning to open up, the gaps are beginning to close as well. Further up the field then, Matt Tebos in P4 is lapping faster than the two drivers in front of him then. And Gary in particular looks to be struggling just a little bit. Tionis is also recovering. He's going pretty quickly and faster than Gary or Falk at the moment. So the Williams drivers look to be slipping back, and still Sansu pulling away ever so slightly. Up at the front, 2.5 seconds a gap. He's just edging away at the moment. It looks like Gary at the moment doesn't quite have the response to go with him just yet. Still, watching on with Scuba, the visibility awful. The rain droplets clouding his view, and still he has to press on and look for a way past. No WR Isotopic, but his battery is very low. He's being held back from moving through on Isotopic, who's got considerably more battery to utilise now. Going on to the straight so they can hold up for the time being. Their colleagues are still holding these guys back. And then at a little bit of a gap up to Alonso, still holding on to that P6 they started in then. It looks like the top six has remained the same at the moment then, in a slightly different order. But so far, it's looking like Sansu is clear at the moment then. On the last lap, we're still seeing the lap times coming flying in there. How was Gary? Did he respond? He was quicker than Sansu on the last lap. Sansu struggling at Falk with the first time penalty in the race then. Slipping back, we've already got Tionis as well with 2 warnings behind. So Falk now with a penalty to his name, and that's going to really hold him back. The field's not too spread out, so any penalty at Monza is going to really cost the driver if he can't make up for it.
Yep, and penalties are so crucial to keep to a minimum here, and with Falk picking up the first penalty of the session, just 7 laps into the race, he's going to have to keep it very clean for the remainder of the race. But it is looking like it is starting to dry out slightly out there, so we may be seeing intermediate switches coming very soon.
There is that lane that's forming on the track. You see there's much more standing water off the racing line from where the drivers haven't been venturing to. So I definitely say that intermediate tires could be a possibility in the near future. We'll see who the brave driver to initiate that strategy call is going to be. At the moment everyone looks content to sit on the wet, so how much longer will that go? Certainly it's still very dull, very dark. Haven't really been seeing much in the way of changes in the conditions. Maybe it's just easing very, very slightly. Sansu again has been caught by Gary on this lap. Looks like he's still staying out for the race lead though. Still a lack of visibility, but look at this now. P2, P3, P4, they're all bunching up then out there on the road. And certainly Matt Tebos was by a long way the fastest car on the track the last lap. And he has caught these two race leaders from Gary. It was a 32. He was in the 32s, but Matt Tebos lapping in the high 31s. As he's making good progress out there, and now reining in P2 and P3 and looking for a way through, but overtaking we know much more difficult in the way. But Matt Tebos looks to have the speed, and being an outside championship bet as well, he's going to look to try gain points on his teammate that's still locked up, ball there behind Isotopic. Can he get through though? He's chasing him down, heading into Della Roger. Can he find a way to the inside line? To the inside, he's going to look, but again, Isotopic will hold him back, and he's defending. And with no DRS and the slipstream not quite as amplified because the speeds are lower, you're seeing overtaking much more difficult. And despite Scuba being all over the rear wing of Isotopic, at no point is he looking for a way through. The Ferrari has done a pretty easy time of it, keeping the championship leader behind.
Yep, Scuba being very patient, very smart in not risking any wing damage. He did set the fastest first sector, closing up the Isotopic there into the Della Rocha chicane, but right now he's just content with patiently waiting for either a mistake or a glorious run at one of these corners, and he's got a pretty good run out of Ascari and is closing in. Not enough.
He looked to the inside line, heading through Parabolic, and it didn't quite work out, but he's much closer now, got a good slipstream. Heading on to the main straight then, heading towards the rectifield. Can he find a way through? Isotopic's got good straight line speed though, and he's actually pulling clear if he's using his battery to extend that advantage, and Scuba ultimately cannot find a way through, has to remain in 9th place, and he is stuck at the moment with Isotopic holding it back then. How's the exit off of turn 2 for both of them? It's going to be good enough, I think, for Isotopic to maintain the place yet again, and still Scuba frustrated and having to wait in behind. His teammate Matt Tebos is looking quite promising though further up the road then. He is pressuring, and Scuba actually attacking now. Is he going to go through this time? No! He still gets so close, right in the slipstream, but he cannot draw near enough, cannot get through, and the overtaking looking so difficult for these drivers. It's such a traditionally easy track to find a way through. the wet tyres. How are they looking in terms of the tyre wear? Certainly for a lot of the drivers then, Falk is actually taking a bit more out than the most drivers then. He's pushing 40% on his rear tyres. So you may be seeing that come into effect later on, but still a lot of the drivers are comfortable to continue on. The still seems to be grabbing. We've got another battle shaping up there because Calidra is going up to the rack of Alonso, and now the AlphaTauri is going to try and look for a way through on the Haas and try and claim that 6th position now out on the road.
Caladri closing up to Alonso for P6, and right now a bit of a no man's land for T. Jonas up ahead as he gets a little bit of a snap of oversteer on the exit of Ascari, but Matt Tibos, he is all over the back of Falk, looking at the inside, maybe just to get out of the spray, but yeah, he doesn't go for the move there. Smart call there from Matt Tibos, but he is definitely looking the faster of the top 4 right now, is the man in the Red Bull.
Yeah, Sansu looks so impressive, and to be fair, he has taken less out of his tyres than all the guys pursuing him, but even so, he's currently coming under pressure. That Gary has been chipping away ever so slightly at the gap. He was 3/10 quicker on the last lap and continuing to try and get back within that range. The top 4 look pretty clear. Sionis hasn't quite been able to live with him after that mistake he made, and Alonso, conversely, has not quite been able to live with even Sionis. Then behind it's very tight, and Caladra we saw moving up towards Alonso. That one didn't quite come through, and the train stretches back even down to Corboy. Down in P12 at the moment, who's managed to get himself onto the back of this, so you can definitely see this midfield scrap is the main focal point of attention. Scuba has a really good run now, and I saw he can't get through this time. He's still tugged under the rear way. Can he get up alongside towards Ascari? Is he going to go for it? No, he's not willing to press on the brakes too much then, and you can understand why. He's got a championship late to defend then, and he does not want to be throwing away the points he's already getting for P9. He chases down Isotopic. He's sitting right there with him, but he doesn't have the grip in the wake of the Ferrari to stick close to most of the corners, but Isotopic is slightly wide going throughout. Parabolic up and gets a good run through the exit, a little bit of a snap. Can Scuba get up to him? He's using his overtake mode again, but Isotopic straight line speed is so strong, and he's, I think, a bit too far away. Scuba is too far away to think about a lunge of the brakes with everything he has at stake, and still, it's Ferrari from Red Bull. Scuba unable to get through, has to wait and still set him ahead. Isotopic holding on then, and now he's trying to look at Calidra as well further up the road. Battles on track, cars bunching up out there, but the overtaking hard to go by again. Scuba with the overtake trying to chase it on Isotopic, but Isotopic holds on again, and the Ferrari has had every answer to everything the Red Bull driver's been able to throw at him so far.
Isotopic doing a fantastic job of keeping a hold of P8. Scuba definitely putting the pressure on, and Caladri dropping off a little bit from Alonso, so Ferrari could be maybe thinking about turning defence into attack pretty soon if he can keep up this pace of closing on AlphaTauri up ahead.
He's having to use some of his battery and defence from Scuba, but so far he's been able to keep him behind them. But look at the 2 Williams drivers now. They look to be engaging in combat out there on the circuit. Gary struggled a bit in the last few laps. He began to labour. The gap to Sansu began to extend back up to 2.5 seconds, where it was as it had its greatest extent. And so now Falk maybe fancy his shots and trying to get through on Gary. Is Gary going to cover towards the inside lane? And he's looking at the pit lane. He's going to dive in. And so Gary has gone in. The rain's still coming down. Matt Tibos has also elected to dive to that pit lane. There was the tyre choice going to be there. In terms of tyre wear, they were pushing close to 50%, but I wouldn't say it was getting towards puncture territory just yet. For Matt Tibos, it's a fresh set of wets. Same goes for Gary. That indicates that the wet tyres have still got some life in them, and maybe it's just more of an undercut thing, trying to get fresh tyres on. So maybe the wet conditions are going to hold up, and so it's Matt Tibos and Corboy as well in behind Gary that came in as well. And so Gary's got off those tyres. He wasn't pressing on them, he wasn't stretching them in terms of tyre wear, but he's opted for that undercut maybe, and let's see what he can do with Scuba now. Gary to get up to Isotopic, and again he's just too far away heading into the De La Roja. He's doing everything at it, but he's not been able to get through. Jordan gets the second penalty of the race. Down there at P8 then, at the tail end of the train. He does not want that. He wants to be gaining positions rather than risk of losing them. Still sitting down in the P8 then. It's going to struggle. Scuba again chasing down Isotopic. Hasn't been able to get through, but I think we're going to see a busy pit lane at the end of this lap then. Sancho's staying out there, but the tyre starting to degrade. He's going to look to go out and make sure he's coming off Gary and Matt Tibos behind, who went in the lap earlier.
Yeah, and speaking of this train of Scuba, Isotopic, Caladri, Yorg, Noisy, Cowboy coming into the pits, and he was at the back of that train. I wonder how many positions he can jump with this undercut.
Yeah, keep an eye out, of course, undercut in the wet, not quite as foolproof as it would be in the dry. Sansu actually staying out. Tiona's also staying out. Falcon was that came in there shadowing his teammate. Has he put in a really strong end lap to try and jump himself forward then? And try and get himself maybe a bit further up the road then. He needs that with that strategy that he's on and with that penalty that he has. Cam getting a penalty in the meantime as well further down the field. That early damage really holding it back as well. We've got Alonso, Scuba, York. They're also coming in behind then. And we'll see the order is going to get ever so slightly reshuffled then. Scuba's out fine. I think York is going to be held up then. He is behind Scuba as he was before then. Alonso staying in front of all of them. And now further down the road, they got Element actually who came in early. He's going to jump a lot of these guys as Gary emerges from the pit lane ahead of Falcon and Matt Timos gets the jump, and now he's looking alongside Gary in a Curva Grande. He's right on the back of the Williams going round the outside and with more momentum. Can he claim that inside line? Heading in to De La Roja. They are side by side for an AP2. Battling into it, two championship rivals battling for the apex. Gary going round the outside will force Matt Timos over. Now that's going to allow Matt Val to cruise around the outside. Matt Timos, he went for the move. Gary was forceful, and back goes the Red Bull, up goes the Williams out the pit lane. He lost the place, gets it back straight away. Matt Timos threw everything at Gary, couldn't get through. Gary just held him off. And now Falcon on the attack now with fresh tires. Can he get up to his teammate now? He's going to be ever searching for a way through. Sansu's still out then. You sense the racing point's going to come in, and he had a few seconds in hand. Now, diving to the pit lane. Where does the race leader emerge? Can he hold on to that gap to Gary in front?
T-John is also following the race leader in. Caladri stays out. Isotopic is in, and Noisy's going to jump in as well. But with Scuba coming in the lap before, not having the Ferrari ahead of him, to kind of hold him back slightly, I'm expecting Scuba to jump Isotopic here.
Let's see how it goes then. I was stopping, of course, coming in that lap later. How powerful is that undercut going to be? Certainly for Sansu. The overcuts work very well. As Fout now trying to get alongside his teammate. It looks back though, but doesn't quite get through. Now Isotopic emerging for the pit lane in. And there is Scuba going straight past. And there is the power of fresh tyres at the pit lane. He gets through now. Corwin trying to get through as well. To the outside of turn one. Can he sweep all the way around the outside of the Ferrari? Trying to get the inside lane at turn two. They're still dueling for the A's and they come together. And round goes the Mercedes. Out the track goes the Ferrari, and battling for the same piece of tarmac has put them both in blows. Cowboy out of the session altogether. Isotopic will continue on. Yellow's being deployed. Are we going to see maybe safety cars being deployed, which will help Calidra up at the front then? They were both right up against the edge of the track then. Isotopic Cowboy Cam's out of the race. He's given it up in the pit lane. So 3 drivers out then in a major turn of events. Still Yellow's out there, but I think they will clear themselves then. So Calidra will not get a massive advantage that he was hoping for staying out all this time then with B. Morgan still shadowing him on that strategy. B. Morgan's there under pressure. He's got Gary and Falk right there with the Falk again attacking his teammate. He looks to have a little bit more raw pace or fresher tires. Looking to the inside lane, but he does not quite go for it just yet. Gary still holding back. B. Morgan maintaining P3 at the moment, then they punch out. Oh, Parabolic over the 14th time of the race, and it's a great run for Falcon. He's getting up to his teammate, and he's going to find a way through. Gary is not going to be willing to hold it back. Surely he's going to defend for all of his worth. But Falcon's chasing him down. He's going to be forced to the outside lane, and the Williams drivers go toe to toe. Falcon going round the outside, running wide though through turn one, and goes across the escape road, then emerges, gets a penalty, and now Matt Timos will be fancying his chances, but I think he's just too far away. He has more momentum granted, and now Falcon on the pressure of Matt Timos going over, curving around Dave, overjudged it, goes wide, gets on the place to be honest. Matt Timos for the second time went for a movement, come off second best, and now Element to the outside gets through as well. So Matt Timos, in critical error, look to the outside, Element, was that where the contact between him and Matt Timos then threatening to fall apart here, who looks to the into the last one, doesn't come off. Disaster for Matt Timos for a potential P2, now down into P8 on the road. There's cars to pen in front of them. Matt Timos now fighting for a top 5 in this race then, down into P8. Just didn't work out in the way he's hoping for. Now Falk alongside Gary again. Can he get through this time then? This time he has the inside line. And then they battle for the apex of a Scary. Gary gets in front, cuts it off. Doing the apex. Gary Valk fighting furiously, but the gap to Santos is enormous. 6 seconds up the road. The Finn is dominating this race now.
Yeah, but here goes Falk once again to the inside for Parabolica. The Williams battling once again. Can Gary hold it around the outside? No. Falk now up into 4th place and a net 2nd place.
Wow, those guys were going at it all the way through, but Falk's looked to have slightly more pace. Now he's moving through. Look at where Tionis is, though. With fresher tires underneath him, Tionis has been flying as of late, and now has got himself onto the rear wing. He's also got a really good chance of a podium now in this race. He's right there with it after an early mistake, threatening these two Williams drivers. Element not too far behind as well, is going to have to get surely another set of tires on. He's not going to be able to take those to the end of the race. The drivers around him should be able to. Lap 16, and you sense that any chance of getting to enters looks to be pretty much gone now. The conditions have held off all the way through. They've not really evolved at all throughout the race, and so it's still allowing these guys to continue on as they were on the wet tyres. Then Spray being kicked up from behind, but Santo pulling clear. 7.6 seconds now at the front. Unless it's a safety car, unless he makes an error, he is clearing away at the front of this race. What a race the Racing Point has driven.
Yeah, and do you honestly picking up a 3-second time penalty if you got Falk trying to get the move done on B. Morgan for 3rd, and he will do so, although he was pretty much pushing him through the exit of the Les Moes. Just showing the advantage of the fresher tyres here as we run now down towards Parabolica. Is Falk going to look to the outside line? He is, but he just can't get through. That Renault rear wing right in front of his face.
He draws alongside industry, he comes together with B. Morgan. Oh my word! They just weren't able to survive, but that could have ended in tears. Now they were parallel down the main straight, heading in a turn one position, swapping all the time, and the inside line is with the man on the fresher tires, but B. Morgan's not giving it up. He runs around the outside then, but just about denied to the apex of turn 2. Through goes Falk now, up in 3rd place. Can Gary fall behind and stay with his teammate when he made an error going throughout turn 2, and I think he's going to have to sit behind and wait for better fortunes later down the road then. Tionis still occupying that space in behind. He's looking for a way through. Doesn't quite come to fruition. Then he goes. Gary into the back of B. Morgan. Running off the road now. Tionis to the outside line. Gary hops over the curve. Through goes Tionis. Element is now with him. Gets alongside Gary as well to the inside line. And Element going for 6th place. Then trying to sweep to the inside line. Gary will hold on to it. Just about. Heading into Lisbon to maintain the place. Now Matt Demos is with him. These guys are running at such a steady pace. The gap to Santo is broken away. And now it's Falk that's moving away on the front. That Gary's been compromised. Tionis moves through, but with the penalty, Element's with it. Now Matt Demos, even Alonso, they're all bunching up here. The battle for the podium could be settled between any number of drivers. Then it's game on them all the way throughout the field now.
Yeah, absolutely is. We're seeing a couple of mistakes start to creep in. Matt Demos going wide of Curva Grande. Gary going a bit deep into the De La Rocha chicane. We're starting to see these mistakes creep in, and the question is who is going to keep the mistakes to the minimum as Gary runs wide. Fortunately, he doesn't pick up a penalty for that, but here goes Matt Tibos on Element for P7 and gets through. Sweeps on by and up into 7th place for Matt Tibos.
He's looked very impressive in terms of pace. That one mistake holding him back, but he's still looking to recover. He still has dreams of a podium, does the Red Bull driver. The Renault's fighting up the road at Tionis, getting up and alongside his teammate, but B. Morgan's not giving it up. Now to cover Grande, he's going to try and run around the outside then, clearing the inside line. He runs right up against the grass, but through goes Tionis, up in a P4, gets the manoeuvre done. Kalidre and B. Morgan are still out there at that stage of the race. You sense those tires are surely going to degrade before the checkered flag if they want to try and pull it off. Maybe they're looking to try and maybe they're trusting and they move to enters further down the road that Gary as well moving past. B. Morgan getting through now. Matt Timos will look to follow through the rider who's in danger of being swamped in this round. Off goes Matt Timos again, and I think this time he's just about managed to survive and keep it alive, but he lost the chance of getting through. Now Alonso challenging Element further down the road. Can he get alongside? He's under pressure as well from behind, and so it is all shading up then. Alonso trying to get through, not quite worth it. Now Scuba's out with him. Scuba from 14th on the ground, now has ambitions of a podium. What a fight here. There are so many drivers in this fight now.
Yeah, it could go either way. Place your bets in the in the chat right now. Who's your money on?
Let's see who is going to come out on top then. B Morgan, I think, was diving. No, he wasn't diving into the pit lane. Further up the road. His tyres are now getting up towards puncture territory. Now, surely they can't last the distance. We've still got 9 laps to go here in Monza. And so many corners and stress putting on the tyres that at such high speed, surely they do not hold on to it. Calidra still leads the way, and we've already seen one incredibly, remarkably brave strategy. That one was in Austria. That one paid off, and he was rewarded with second place in that race. But surely this one isn't going to reward him with the same fortunes. Fouled now with a second penalty, and that's going to put him at threat. He's managed to pull out a gap from behind, but now he is really under pressure now in this race. He's showing off on my task as if he's got 12 seconds of penalties. I'm not entirely sure of that. He's got 12 seconds of that. Then what that's going on there? He's now dropping well down the order. And now Tionis within range, but Gary, he's just doing what he needs to do. His pace hasn't been phenomenal, but he's held on. He's keeping himself in contention, and he's keeping it clean to avoid penalties. Matt Dubos and the likes will still be looking to try and chase him down. Matt Dubos is still bolting out behind B Morgan. B Morgan's pace on aging tyres is still pretty good, but those tyres will be wearing. He's now up to 65% on the left rear tyre. That is essentially where a lot of that wear is coming from, as it's getting a lot of stress as he applies the throttle out of some of these traction zones. Matt Dubos though is going to try and fade away through the gap. 0.3 of a second. Can he chase that down? Shoot it down in the straight, but he's, I think, just a bit too far away to get that gap down and cut it down. Look further down the road. The Scooper is on the offensive now. In the other Red Bull, trying to get up to the back of ASC. Alonso chasing him down on the time, and Alonso feels the need to move across, but Scuba does not get through just yet, so they all set in formation, and Scuba trying to get through. Element is holding these guys back as well. He may be able to get those tires to the end, but he's pushing 60% as well, and so he's going to be struggling on the tires by the end. We're now coming up now, just under 8 laps to go here at Monza. Matt Tibos threatening B Morgan on the way. He's going to dive it down the inside. No! He is denied at the apex. B Morgan holding him off, keeping him at bay. Can Matt Tibos somehow get through then in that Red Bull? He runs up behind his pressure B Morgan on the way, but B Morgan has held it back, and it's allowed Gary, Tionis and the rest to barrel clear in front, and the gap is opening up all the time with B Morgan holding P6.
Yeah, but B Morgan gets a snapper focus on the exit, and Matt Tibos here, quick reactions, almost goes straight into the back of him, just manages to avoid that though. With Matt Tibos now up in the P6, and I was just about to say, with B Morgan holding up Matt Tibos, it's actually working out well for Tijonis, who has that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, and he's actually pulling away from Gary as well. He's got a bit more pace underneath him. He has Luke's on those fresher tyres, offering a bit more grip, and he's having a bit more confidence in these conditions. He's also in range of Falcon ahead, so Tionis is on for a stellar result here. Could potentially be beat. P2 things go his way. B Morgan makes a mistake though. B Morgan again, and Scuba moving past the Lords, and then going through Powerball. Got last, gets through an element, looking to attack as well then. With now the rest of the battery flowing to the inside line now, but B Morgan's going to cover it up with battery of his own, and the Renault will maintain P7 just about. Alonso trying to fight back at Scuba. Doesn't get through the field, so remarkably close in this region of it then. And with now less than 7 laps to go, Calidra still leads. You sense he must be trying to stretch these tires to the end then. He's being so brave. The gap to Sansa coming down, not by that much, but he's getting up to now near 8% on those tires, and he gets to the end. It would be remarkable, but can he possibly pull it off with Sansa pulling it out? The tire is screaming and screeching from underneath him. Can Calidra hold on to it? But it's a really uphill battle so far for the Dane.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job of keeping those tyres in check, but you've got to think he's already approaching 80% on his rear left tyre. He's going to be absolutely on the ragged edge of puncture within the next lap or two, and he needs to make that decision soon whether or not he's going to try and pit, maybe chuck on a set of inters if it gets a little bit drier. As we see, it is kind of still similar to what it has been. The falling rain hasn't really slowed down enough.
Yeah, I think they were maybe gathering on inters, but it's not quite worked out there. They've got to commit to that strategy, staying out to the checkered flag. Scuba's on the attack again. He has got Elman all lined up. Red Bull chasing down now. Alphatari. You can see B Morgan just overhead has slowly slipped down the field, and he has a better chance. His tires are actually in better shape than Calidra's, so he may be able to make good work of it. To the inside line, Luke Scuba gets alongside Elman. Can he get on the inside line, and Elman holding it right outside? No, he cannot. Through goes Skipper down to P8, and he is at last coming through the order. Can he chase it? I saw that's Alonso running up the road further back in the order. Now he's going to get Noisy a chance of running to the inside lane through Carver Grande. Right up against the grass. Right up against the inside curve. I know one of them could spell disaster for him, sliding away, but he's looking right the outside now. Into the erosion. There's contact between them, and front leg flying off the Alfa Romeo, who now loses out to Jorg and cruises down the inside. Gets through. Noisy, oh no, he tried to move over. It was a fierce battle with Alonso, but he came off worse, and now with major damage. He can try and soldier on to the end, but his chance of good points now have been completely ruined now. He sets out at 10. He may be able to hold up for my topic, but misery for Noisy. You have to really feel for him. He gave it a go at Alonso, but it wasn't quite to be.
Yeah, just a little bit too hot on the brakes, and with LMN's tyres starting to fall away now, you would think 17 laps on Scuba's all over the back of P. Morgan, expecting that move to happen into turn 1 very soon. Or is he just making that mistake? A little bit hot on the brakes, pays the price, loses 2 positions instead of gaining a position. And now is running with front wing damage, and it's still not out of the question for Isotop to catch up to him.
As further down the road there, Skipper gets alongside Pete Morgan now looking for another overtake then. Pete Morgan again, bravely running round the outside. He's going to hold on to it actually in a turn 2. And Skipper is going to have to retake it and fight again. Pete Morgan's not letting that go. He's still dreaming of getting his tires to the end of the race then. Skipper gets up and alongside. He's going for the inside lane, and a Carver running gets squeezed right up to the inside. They make wheel-to-wheel contact, but through goes Skipper. Does he? Pete Morgan's still got the inside lane. He brakes remarkably late. Gets to stop the turn 10, but Skipper's got a better run on ace. It starts doing well. Going for the lead against Hillydra. Gets the move done, and now Pete Morgan again trying to hold on to the inside lane. Skipper is pinched to the curb, and Pete Morgan again will hold on to it. He's now pushing 80% on those tires now. They're going to be screeching from underneath it, but now Skipper looking to the inside lane. Pete Morgan on the battery, powers back clear, and will hold on to P7. He's got every right to. He's intending to get to the checkered flag, but he will get and he will hold back Skipper for now. But up at the front, Kalidra's tires are falling away from him now. We're coming out now, just 4 laps to go. His tires are 85%. He's going to be right on edge. Surely a puncture is imminent. Can he possibly get him to the end? About P3 is flying, but the massive penalties that he has is going to cost him dearly, I think, come the end, as it turns out. Then Skipper now with Pete Morgan getting through this time to the outside lane, heading a parabolic, and through goes the Red Bull at last. Gets the move done. He soldiers on the P7 man, so he must have headed sick then. P. Morgan trying to fade back to the outside lane. He's giving it all. Skipper covers the outside lane, and at last now he runs wide. He makes a mistake, and P. Morgan gets up and alongside him to the outside of the turn 2. Skipper will hold it back, and now they're all bunching up from behind. It'll end now. Tucked in behind the Rhino. Can he maybe find a way through, try and get there? He's got slightly better tires, but he's not quite able to stay with him. Looks like they're going to still stay in line. Skipper at last gets P7. He may yank in from Kalidra's tires going up. Kalidra, he tried this in Austria, stretched the tires to the limit. He's trying it in Italy. He must be the bravest man in the entire division. Can he hold on for P2 then? It would be a remarkable story. With 3 laps to go, can Kalidra possibly nurse these tires to the end?
We've got a yellow flag, and I think that's Jorg around. Yes, it is.
Oh.
Jorg facing the wrong way as Isotoplik gets through. Alfa Romeo going for a spin there, but yeah, as you were saying, Kalidra doing a fantastic job of keeping those tyres in check, and right now looking at his rear left, he's approaching 90% and he's still going.
What a soldier, what a trooper. Further down the order then, I think that's Noisy that's going off this time. Both the Alfa Romeo suffering, and Isotopic he's in second place. And 1 lap, then Noisy going on. He's still got a fighting chance, but he's got major front wing damage, so he's going to have to go in surely at the remainder of this lap then. Better disappointment for both the Alphas. I think they're going to have to settle for the rear of the field. AGU might be able to jump the pair of them. He's had an awful race himself there with damage early on, and also going for an extra pit stop. Into the pits comes Noisy, and Jorg behind is going to stay out, but going around, of course, early in the lap, he is not going to have a chance of getting up any higher, I think then. We're coming up now, 3 to go in what has been a truly dramatic Italian Grand Prix. There's still battles to be decided then. Oh, Element! Almost off it, Carver Grande went right wide into the white line. Just about held on to it. Noisy through the pit lane, might be able to snatch a fastest lap. We're coming up now, 2.5 laps to go. Satsu is away and gone, has driven faultlessly tonight. Pole position by a mile, and he continues to move away with it. Then Alonso and Element side by side from the back of the field. Then that's Element going off actually. Element steering off, mistakes creeping into the end of the race. And Bago's actually got puncture now. You can see that on the rear left tyre, and so the AlphaTauri, who had less tyre wear than Calidra and B. Morgan that are staying out then, suffers the puncture. He's the unlucky one, and a good short points through, and then down to 11th. Element, you have to feel for him. So many drivers' races faltering in these last few laps.
Element with, was it 4 lap pressure tyres gets the puncher first?
Yeah, I think so. There was considerably pressure, and he had less tyre wear on them as well, but ultimately that didn't come through. But Calidra and B. Morgan are still out there. Calidra, 93%. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get that much tyre wear and still not get a puncture. B. Morgan is on 88%. These guys are pushing it to the limit. Falk has caught Calidra. He's right there with him, but he has those penalties, so unless Calidra gets a puncture, and even so, Tionis is within range. Gary is still just about with Tionis as well, and benefiting Elementa with a penalty going into the pit lane. And you said, well, it's nearly impossible to slow down a car with that puncture. Falk now has Calidra lined up, going down the outside and cruising down. And I think in the end, Calidra let it go. He knows that he has bigger battles to fight then. 94%. The tar hanging on by a thread here, hanging by a knife edge. Satsu, 8 seconds clear, has driven flawlessly. You cannot fault this man's drive. He is well clear and he's headed for a victory then. Cruising to the checkered flag. But the real story is, Calidra, can he hold on to it? P2 is still a possibility. He's being caught rapidly from behind, but somehow those tires are still holding on, Mike.
This is unbelievable. As we go on to the final lap of the race, Caladri on 95% on his rear left. This is unbelievable.
Can he hold on to it? Tionis closing in from behind. I'm keeping an eye on that task all the time. 96% is up to now. This is insane. He's dropping back. You can see the lack of grip that he's got further down the order. Alonso moving past B. Morgan. Going into turn 1. Can he get through this time? B. Morgan's got nothing to fight with. Through goes ASA Alonso. Recovers to 8th place. B. Morgan looking to the inside, but ultimately a retaliation move is futile. And Alonso snatching back P8 right at the death, and he's headed for that now. Still keeping an eye out then. Calidra, he's on rims. There is nothing left in those tyres, but somehow they do not pop. Let's see him continue his way through. He's nursing that car then all the way through. He's got nothing left to give there. That gap is shrinking rapidly to Tionis in behind, but they're still being maintained. We'll cut towards Sansa though, at the front of the field then, chasing down the checkered flag. He has driven a flawless race all the way through. Now, just has the run to the lane to execute, and now coming through, it is going to be Sansu to win the Italian Grand Prix in dominant fashion. Sansu win it. Falco cross second on the road, and Calidra with just the lane inside, 98% on the tyres, and with now Tionis chasing him down. Falco cross the second with penalties, and Calidra remarkably is going to make it P2. That is incredible. Gary snatches third, just like in Austria, by less than a tenth of a second. Wow. Just about gets it then. Tionis P4, he has to settle for a penalty costing him dearly. Matt Tables does get a top 5 despite the errors. Falk P6, Scuba P7. Falk will see if he gets penalties removed in the end, but he gets P6 provisionally. Scuba P7. Alonso in 8th position. B. Morgan nice topic round out the top 10. They're waiting on York, AGU, Noisy, and Elemento, I think, went for fastest lap in the end. That is coming through. And B. Morgan as well, P9, his tyres were on 94%. He was on the verge as well. Those two guys, they played with fire, they played with the odds, and they pulled off a remarkable zero-stop strategy. What a brave drive, and Calidra is rewarded with a podium. That was incredible.
It was fantastic. How they kept their tyres in check at that percent, I have no idea.
Wow. And so we just wait now for Element to cross last in the end. He had the less tyre, he was the unlucky one. from that battle at the front, and ultimately he is going to have to set away. Scuba gets driver of the day, and you have to say it's been a good damage limitation drive for Scuba. He didn't look confident out there, but he was able to come through, get P7 in the end, and limit his losses. Gary, though, P3 is going to pull back some good championship points on him, but the day belongs to this man. Sansu 37 again on top today, and his phenomenal qualifying pace has been rewarded this time with a race victory to go along with it. Collider joins him on the podium. Gary there as well. I don't know if, Mike, you want to try and get these guys coming into the interview box. We'll hopefully hear from each and every one of them from the race. That is your podium at the end of the day then. What a race. I wasn't expecting to have that much action in any wet race, but that is the results then. That is going to be the end. I think Sansu again getting driver of the day. No one was near him at any stage then. What a drive.
He gets fastest lap as well.
Friend. Yeah, he gets fastest lap by some margin, actually. Well, actually, the Element was close to him at the end. I think if Element didn't weave towards the line, he might have been able to secure that fastest lap, but ultimately it wasn't quite to be. To be honest, I also feel really sorry for him. He's had a difficult season, really, so far, and he nearly got a podium and ultimately couldn't quite come through. Collider, that's his third podium of the season. Gary's fourth podium. Those guys on consistent form all the way through, and they are also looking maybe to gain good points then in the championship standings. I think they're both going to be top three after this race. Sansu, Kalidra and Gary, that is your podium. I hope then, Mike, you're going to try and get these guys in. We can maybe hear from them in terms of the interviews.
Yep, I'm just inviting them now.
Excellent to hear. And so let's run through, what does this actually do to the championship standings? Scuba, of course, he was out of range of anyone behind. He will still retain the championship lead, but it will be cut down ever so slightly. It is still incredibly close for P2. Gary holds on to P2, only just though. Kalidra moves up to P3, just 2 points shy. The championship gap still sits at a pretty healthy 35 points. But that can all change. Scuba's got a bit more pressure on him now. We'll see if he can try and eke out, and maybe the next round will serve better fortunes for the Red Bull man heading throughout the remainder of the season. We're now well into the second half, just 4 rounds to go, so we are now getting into the thick of things. The championship could be defined very, very soon, and so the next round is coming to you as we do have Kalidra. I still think I'm butchering that, but thank you for joining the party. Next round's coming to you from Singapore, and so we'll see how that one's going to unfold. But we're going to get our drivers, and now we have all 3 of them in here, which is absolutely fantastic to see. I guess we'll start with our race winner, Sansu. Again, I might be pronouncing that terribly wrong again, but congratulations on the race victory. Is the audio all fine at your end? Can you hear us just fine?
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Is your voice set to? Is your voice set to share in terms of the in terms of the audio settings, just so the audience can hear you as well? Okay. I guess we'll. I guess we'll man a few words. We'll I guess we'll start. I guess with the first person that joined the party. That's Kalidra. Kalidra, can you hear us? Again? I'm sure everything's fine on your end.
Yeah.
Okay. And first off, from me, you used to be the bravest man in the entire division. I cannot believe that you persevered on that strategy. It was simply sensational stuff in the end. First of all, I have to ask you, first of all, what was the challenge like of those wet conditions? Obviously, full wet all the way through, a very unique race in a context for you guys. What was it like putting up with that, and was it difficult to keep the car on the track at times?
Yeah, well, first, the difficulty with finding a setup was, I didn't know what to do, so I just put up my dry setup and gave it a little more rear wing and a little more ride height. I don't know if it was any good, but the visibility was, you couldn't see anything going into turn 1. I don't know where to brake. Was just afraid to, rear end everybody. I think it did okay. I think I lost a position even though I got a good start, but yeah, it was just trying not to be right behind someone because the visibility was nowhere near anything you would want to do.
Yeah, and well, obviously, I don't think we can talk about this race from you without talking about that strategy. Oh my word! Were you committed to a zero stop from early in the race? Did you genuinely believe it was possible, and were you committed to that from early and looking to try and make that zero stop work?
Well, when the race started, I looked at the strategy and saw it was a one-stopper. I tried to play around with the pit lap and try to put it as far as I could, and yeah, saw there that it might not be possible. But yeah, I saw that the times of the tires didn't really drop off if I played around with it, so I just thought to myself that I would just go as long as I could, and maybe I would get lucky with a safety car or the conditions would switch to intermediates or something, so I could, yeah, not do one pit stop. But when I reached lap 18, 19, I think my tires were already about 60%. So I
Mm.
really thought that, yeah, this is not gonna be possible, but I'll give it a shot. But yeah, I just continued, drove in lean out of every corner, trying not to get wheel spin. And I think my last 3, 4 laps, I was, I don't know, 4 seconds slower than my PB or something. So it's just insane.
Well, I can tell you now, your tires were on 98% at the end of that race. I've never in all my times commentating races, I've never seen anything like that. What was the experience of those last few laps like? Because I'm sure you were checking that tire wear graphic all the time, making sure that you were keeping them alive. Then, like, what were the nerves like? And did you ever believe for a moment you could get those tires to the end? Because I'm going to be honest, I certainly didn't. You pushed them almost to 100% on their own. You were quite fortunate, but what were the nerves like in those last few laps and just trying to nurse them all the way to the end?
Yeah, so I basically made up my mind that I wouldn't get mad if I got a puncture because, yeah, I tried my best. So it was just all about trying to keep them alive. Yeah, I think I slowed down right enough to do so. But yes, I had to admit that it's pure luck that I didn't get a puncture. I have happened in France with hard tires get a puncture on 72%. So it's just pure RNG once you get over those 70s. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really good result for me, but yeah, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I'm good to. Mike, do you have anything to add then?
I'm just speechless at how he managed to get his tires all the way to the end. I'm speechless.
Yeah, I'm just Masu, same as the Austria where I had the hearts from lap 5, I think.
Well,
Just
you know,
with the tires, yeah.
fortune definitely favoured the Brave tonight. 'Cause I believe 78% was what LMN was on, and he managed to get a puncher. Obviously, you and B Morgan, the only two guys in the 90s, and it was insane to see you stretch it all the way to the end. And it paid off. You got
Yeah.
yourself a podium.
Yeah, I was so nervous going into the third sector. Already there I had 98%. So I was just, yeah, going grandma mode to the rest of the race. But paid off, so I'm happy.
Excellent. I guess we're going to come to next up, XL Gary. I don't think I have to ask you about audio. I know that things
We're
are going to
good.
be fine on
Yeah.
your end. Yep. Just coming to you first. Obviously, that race was pretty manic and very difficult to, of course, manage in those wet conditions. You had a good qualifying session. You nearly managed to snatch out that pole position. I tell you, getting into 17s with the I assume a call for myself must have been very impressive. What was that qualifying experience for you like? And how gutted were you to just miss out on that pole position?
Yeah, it's quite a nice. I didn't change too much. I just changed the ride height. I didn't, and then up the front wing. Actually, I didn't up the front wing at the first stint, but yeah, I didn't really mess around with the setup too much, and yeah, I was quite happy with the lap. Bit annoying, didn't get pole, but can't complain when you're getting beaten by a D1 driver. So yeah,
Oh,
take second, I guess, and then I don't know. The race itself, I started the race with one front wing, and then I felt like I was too understeer, and then second stint I upped the front wing, and I don't know. It just made everything worse. It seemed as the race pace in the second half of Sit was really bad, and I don't even think I'll get a podium. I think Falk will probably get his pens removed, so I'll probably get fourth in the end.
Yeah, but I'm gonna come to you about that closing set of the race because you had a battle in terms of the penalties with Tionis. He had some very good pace today, and you just about managed to stay within that range. How tense were the last few laps then, and were you confident that you could keep within that distance that you needed? It was very similar to Austria in that manner. You were fighting for a podium on the penalties, and for the second week running, you just about saw it through. The gap was incredibly small at the checker flag. So what were those last laps that just tried to drive home and secure that P3?
Not fun at all. Especially that last lap, especially, I really had to push, and I was like, a car was all over the shop at the end, especially coming out with Scary. So yeah, I really had to push. I wasn't happy or comfortable in the second stint with the wet at all, and that really showed when I was able to stay ahead of the drivers like Falk and, to be honest, quite comfortably in the first stint. In the second stint, they were able to really drive away. So yeah, I got ahead of them in the end. It's points, like it's extra point or two, like hopefully it will matter in the end. So yeah, I'm quite happy I managed to get him right at the end.
Yeah, and you do cut that gap to Scuba down in the championship. I think it's down to 35 points after that race. I'm sure you'll still be looking for more, but are you still optimistic you can chase him down, try and turn things around maybe? Do you still feel confident that you can try and mount a really, really strong challenge for that championship?
I'm not going to say I can't. I know how difficult it's going to be because Scuba's a really good driver, very consistent, something I haven't been this season. But yeah, I got to start winning races realistically. I can't just keep coming third, fourth, or whatever it is, because that's not going to make a mark really on his points tally. So if I can win as many races as possible at the end, and hopefully he has one or two bad races, then maybe. But yeah, it's a tall ask, but I'm not going to give up. So hopefully I can push him right to the end.
Love that mentality. Mike, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I think you covered it all before, Gary.
Yes, no more questions.
Well, I think that is it. That's it from our drivers. I don't think Sanso wasn't able to stick around, so
He's gone back to D1.
Well, I guess we'll leave that to the people running the league to decide. But with just about, I think, everything said and done for tonight, I'm going to come to you quickly, Mr. Michael Edwards. Who would you say is your driver of the day for tonight, and any other final words?
It is a very close call between Kaladri and Satsu. For me, Satsu absolutely flawless all race, and Kaladri just for taking those tires all the way to the end. I can't pick between them.
Are we going to leave it at that then? Okay. Well, and that's, I think, just about it for tonight. Thank you all very much for tuning in yet again to more TTML Division 2, and can't wait to see future rounds of the championship running around the next month or so towards the end of the championship season. Still a lot to look out for as well from TTML this week. Division 4 and Division 5 are going to be airing tomorrow at 8 PM UK time, and also keep an eye out for us next week at 8 PM UK time every Thursday for TTML D2. The Singapore Grand Prix is what we have to look forward to next up, so do not go anywhere. We're certainly looking forward to that one next time out. But I think that's just about all for this week. Again, thank you all very much for watching and tuning in. And so, from myself and from Michael Edwards, we wish you all very well for the future. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Yeah, I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go. Hey, yeah, I gotta let you go. Yeah, I gotta let you go. I've been up for 3 nights. My eyes are bloodshot red. Damn, I wanna see the sunshine. It's getting to my head. One look in the mirror, don't like what I find. I know that somewhere in there there's a good guy, but he runs away at midnight. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. My siblings are perfect and I wish I were the same. Making bad decisions, it should be my middle name. I love playing with fire, it's my favorite. Watch me burn my whole house down, not feel a thing. One look in the mirror, don't like what I find. I know that somewhere in there there's a good guy, but he runs away at midnight. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom.
Or this is what happens when I'm out of my mind.
Listen, there's collateral damage, I gotta go.
I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Sitting at the same old workplace. What's the point of this chase? To just bite our old tail. Wishing that something would change, that we could turn back the page and live like our favorite fairy tales. So a love so free in a world of our fantasies, flying on dragons through sky-high cities. These are childhood dreams, it's how we used to be, when we were kings and queens in our childhood dreams. Oh, 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 our childhood dreams. Our childhood dreams. Feeling. I feel so lightweight when I think back to those days, but then we went our own ways. I'm thinking about what needs to change, that we could turn back the page and live like our favorite fairy tales. So a love so free in a world of our fantasy, digging up treasures and sailing across the sea. These are our childhood dreams, it's how we used to be. When we were kings and queens in our childhood dreams. Oh, 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 our childhood dreams. Our childhood dreams, it's how it used to be. When we were kings and queens in our childhood dreams.
Every weekend is the same. I'm the one you try to claim. Yeah, I already know about your game, but I'm not the one to sit around and be played. Call me up with no shame. All your words sound the same. Yeah, I already know about your game, but I'm not the one to sit around and be played. If you come around just to play me,